Live from Israel, it's John's place. Tonight, not in the studio audience, but in the studio, we have Mr. Paul Wiener, co-chair of the Likud Anglo Division.
Perfect.
Thank you. You want to say hello? Did you say hello?
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here again.
Tonight's show is really about a lot of sad occurrences that happened to the Jewish people this week. As we go back a couple of weeks, Lipa Schwartz, a 62-year-old Hasidic Jew in Brooklyn, is brutally beaten by someone screaming, Allah Akbar. The following day, another Orthodox Jew in Brooklyn is beaten by a member of a minority group. Less than 10 days later, in the city of Pittsburgh, in a Jewish community of Squirrel Hill, the tight-knit community of the Jewish people in Pittsburgh, one of the worst cases of a Jewish massacre on American soil happened. 11 Jewish people were slaughtered only because they are Jews. Now the question is,
Can I
Paul?
inject one thought?
Yes.
There was over 50 other people that were injured.
Okay.
In addition to the 11 that were killed.
Thank you for that additional information.
Well, he's trying to kill everybody.
Of course.
Could have been worse.
Of course. Of course. Now, Paul, tell me something. What is going on in America today, and where is the blame? Where should the blame be laid?
On Barack Obama. He created chaos in the United States. He made religion a taboo and all kinds of other things to be good. That's the opposite of morality and problems. But, you know, one of the biggest problems is that what the Jewish people in America don't understand, they are safer today now for only one reason. And that's because Israel is here today. There is a country and a people that protects the Jews all over the world, regardless. And they think that we're causing them problems. We're saving them. This is their insurance policy.
Paul,
they have nothing in Europe.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Jews got that is a very interesting point, because as the Jewish people in America turn further and further to the left, and condemn Israel for many reasons that is really not their business, whether it be the nation state law, which calls Israel a Jewish state, or whether it is other religious situations that they are not kind of. When they attack Israel, that weakens their strength in the United States.
Exactly.
All that does, it tells their enemy that the Jews of America are getting weak now. They don't even want to support their country, their homeland, Israel. As a matter of fact, it's hard for me to comprehend this, because God forbid anybody should disrespect these 11 Jewish souls who are gunned down in cold blood just because they were Jewish. But after this, there are radical left-wing groups that are coming out and saying it is Israel's fault. It's Donald Trump's fault. It's because the embassy was moved. Now, I want to understand something here. The man was not a Muslim. The man was not a member of ISIS. The man was an American-born anti-Semite, similar to the anti-Semites that were around before Israel existed. And there were always anti-Semites around. So why are we turning this around and blaming Israel? Where did Israel become the problem here? And how do these radical left-wing Jews condemn Donald Trump and tell him, you know what? I'm not sure we care for your visit to pay a shiva call, which Donald Trump knows what a shiva call is, to pay a shiva call for the members of the Pittsburgh community. How dare you treat the President of the United States who, if you have a connection to Israel, have to say thank you for defending Israel to the fullest that we've never seen before from a president of the United States. And we are on borrowed time as far as that kind of support goes.
You know, there's a little story. This is not his
How
first.
little is the story?
A little bit. It's about the Israeli ambassador to the UN. I mean, to Israel.
David Friedman.
Right. When his father died in just north of the city of New York, Donald Trump on his own drove all the way there to pay a Shiva call and stayed all night.
In a snowstorm.
In a snowstorm. So it's not his first Shiva call. It's not like he did it for political reasons. You know, he's done it just for friends that are Jewish.
And to talk about synagogues, his father, when he built Trump Towers in Brooklyn, built a synagogue for the residents, built the shul, and covered the expenses of the shul so they would have a place to pray.
It was a good,
okay?
It was a good
so
tactic.
I am confused. They're blaming the wrong people here. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the American Jewish left, please stop with the slogans. Never again is a beautiful, meaningful slogan. But what are we doing so that it will never be again?
But did you notice that people like Maxine Waters or Obama or Soros or a lot of these people that were in the last government, I didn't hear them condemn what happened. You know, there were at least 5 Muslim countries in the Middle East that condemned what happened, including Turkey. Condemned it. Erdogan, who isn't exactly always our friend, he condemned it.
Yeah, because there's to them a differentiation between condemning Israel and condemning Jews, okay? And obviously we know the Turks and the Jews go way, way back, okay? And even Israel and the Turks had a great relationship up until the current president of Turkey. But anyway, we have to understand that this is outright religious persecution.
Yes.
And it can happen to any group, not just the Jewish people. Unfortunately, throughout our history, we have been the sheep that have been sent to slaughter when things get bad and when things get out of control. And unfortunately now, going on in America is a continuation of what has happened in the past when the Jews were being persecuted. This is not a new concept. Slowly here an attack, there an attack, spread out the attacks, a few people here, a few people there, and the next thing you know, the Jewish people are on the run.
And the only place they have to run to is here, Israel, where they know.
Okay, and now you're bringing up a very interesting point, and no one should call out for all the American Jews to pack their bags and get on their ships and planes and come to Israel and make Aliyah. No, listen, we want you to be safe in America. America is a very strategic ally to the state of Israel and a great country, and the Jews outside of Israel have never lived better. But all good things come to an end, as the saying goes. Be aware of what's going on around you. Understand that we must protect ourselves around the world. Don't be naive. We here in Israel send our kids to even a kindergarten, a gun. There is a man with a gun standing at the door. And I promise you, there's not one parent whose children go to that gun are upset that there's an armed There's an armed guard standing there. They are happy that their children are safe and protected. Don't be naive. Protect yourselves and your families.
But I think this is part of the disconnect between, I'm not talking about all Jewish people in America, but the ones that don't like Israel all of a sudden and everything. They don't want to be, considered like Jews in Israel. We're not like them. We're different. We're this and that. And they think that they don't understand the fact that the sole purpose of anti-Semitism is any Jew anywhere in the world. That's the way it is. And they try to disconnect, they think that it doesn't affect them.
And you know what? The interesting thing is at the summit, at the Federation GA, whatever they call it, that they happen to have in Tel Aviv, as opposed to the capital, the unified capital of Israel, that now has a U.S. embassy in Jerusalem, they decided to go to Tel Aviv. Okay, that's another topic for another day. But they don't realize Israelis love America. They love American Jews. They don't differentiate between Orthodox, conservative, reform, reconstructionist, and all types of segments of Jewish society. They love America and they love American Jews and they appreciate their support. So I don't understand why American Jews have to turn around and say Israelis don't like them, Israelis don't respect them, Israelis don't understand them. Listen,
It's only a certain.
don't make it a religious issue.
It's part of fake news. It's not.
Israelis love America. As we know, there's so many Israelis living in America.
Yeah.
Why would they live there if they didn't love America and American Jews? Excuse me. So we must make sure and realize the state of Israel is the home for Jews from around the world. And the American Jewish people, just be cognizant and aware and be safe. And know, you have an option. Thank God the Jews around the world have an option. And by the way, if you don't like what's going on in Israel and you're not happy with their policies, just 2 days ago, we had municipal elections in Israel. Probably shortly, in another few weeks, the prime minister will announce new elections in Israel. If you want change in Israel, your opportunity is to come here and vote. And by the way, as soon as you get off that plane, you become an Israeli citizen and you get a right to vote. And no one will turn you away at the border.
And that's only because we're a Jewish nation state, just like the law says, the new law.
The new law.
You know,
Anyway.
the state law.
I don't want to beat this till the end. Hamokom yinatem etchem im shar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. God should mourn you along with all the other Jews of Zion and Jerusalem. That is my Shiva call to the families in Pittsburgh. I'm sorry I can't be there. And we all in Israel feel your pain. I want you to understand that. And we don't care. We don't care what denomination you are. A Jew is a Jew, not who is a Jew. A Jew is a Jew.
Amen.
Okay, now, on a beautiful note, on a positive event that happened this week in none other than Abu Dhabi, a country that would never let an Israeli show their flag or ever hear the words of our Tikva played. Sagi Muki, Peter Palchik, Timna Levy, Baruch Shamanov. What do these four Israelis have in common? They won medals at this huge judo event in Abu Dhabi. Miri Regev, none other, the Minister of Culture and Sport in Israel, she was present there. And Hatikva was being played and tears were rolling down her eyes. It was an unbelievable sight. And we are very proud. And Jews around the world, in all the sorrow and all the suffering that we are going through, should realize what a light upon the nations we are emanating from the state of Israel. Paul?
I must say, you know, she's the first minister of, culture and sports that has really done some really great things for the Israelis, like this event and other things, and which, as a minister of a portfolio that you really don't hear much about since before. And I think she should be congratulated for all the work she's done.
And another note, Sagi Muki mentioned that this
He's a relative of the girl that says in Boca.
Yes, hi girls, is in Boca, come on home. He said that this medal is dedicated to the 11 Jews who were slaughtered in Pittsburgh. How many Jews were slaughtered in Munich? How many Jews were massacred?
I
Is it
think
11?
22 maybe.
No.
I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
It wasn't 8. It may have been 11.
I don't know. I don't recall exactly.
But anyway, remember, we feel for you. And
Exactly, Jackie.
Hey, Jay Jaffe, one of our
feel-
biggest
we-
supporters. Send your checks.
We feel for
The more the
all,
merrier.
we feel for all Jews around the world, and you should know that Israel is always here. And there's a problem. You can always know that Israel will
Be
do
there.
something and be there.
And kol hakavod to the city of Pittsburgh, to the Pittsburgh Steelers with their moment of silence. I have spoken to a previous member of the Pittsburgh community. He said on the hat, they're going to change one of those steel emblems to a Jewish star. And I noticed that the hockey team also did an adjustment to the logo to make it look like a Jewish star. Listen, there are lots of good people around the world, and not everybody's an anti-Semite, but it only takes one to cause a massacre. So just be aware and be vigilant. Lila Tov from Israel. Paul,
Tov.
thank you for watching. And remember, boycott I-24 News, the fakest news of them all. Remember, Lila Tov. Now you finally got it? Are you telling me?
Here we are.
We weren't on? We weren't on?